In the Democratic Republic of Congo, electoral fraud fears rise as the country's internet shutdown continues. A technical development center in Somalia teaches young people, especially women, new skills to earn a living. And a closer look at the festivities surrounding VOA's latest radio show launch in Togo. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. We'll have those stories in a moment. But first, armed men killed 37 Fulani civilians on Tuesday in central Mali, where ethnic violence cost hundreds of lives last year, according to the government. Violence between the Fulani and rival communities has compounded an already dire security situation in Mali's semi-arid and desert regions, which are used as a base by jihadist groups with ties to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. In a statement, the government said the attackers, who were dressed as traditional dancer hunters, raided the village of Koulogan in the central Mopti region, and that some of the victims were children. For more on the situation, I'm joined by VOA Bambara journalist Modibo Dambele. Modibo, welcome to Africa 54.
Welcome, Vincent.
Now, when you talk about security in Mali, of course, there's always the question of who is attacking whom because of the fear of the jihadists also in that area. But explain to us what exactly you're hearing happened in the case of this very latest attack.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for giving me a chance to talk about these issues. And this attack happened in a village which is called Koulogon. It is located in the Bankas area, which is part of Mopti. That's the 5th region of Mali. And according to the government press release, as you say, some armed men dressed as a traditional Donso, which is like a hunter, and Donso, that's the name of the tribe of the area. And they say they killed some, they allege that they killed 37 civilian Fulanis. And the government said that they will do everything they can to track those people responsible of this atrocity.
Is this something to do with a conflict between two communities, or could it be having any connections with terrorists that operate around that area?
According to the testimonies and that we get from the ground, more and more people are really raising more questions because those people have been living together for centuries. Fulanis, Bambaras, Bozos, etc. And I'm not saying they never got issues like this, but according to like one of the latest testimony today, the person say those so-called traditional hunters are more equipped than the national army. And the guy asked me those kind of questions. How they get those kind of weapons? You know, how with more than 12,000 UN military presence in Mali, how those people cannot really get those militia men? And why now? Since the conflict has switched from Kidal now into the center of Mali.
Now there have been a few other attacks. I'm hearing there's also a possibility that's happening in other areas, even probably across the border. So are there concerns that perhaps these are other groups disguising themselves as the Donso hunters?
According to the people we talk to the ground, that's the general belief. Because even if you go to the internet or social media, people say most likely some people are getting paid, they are dressed as Donso, so it can raise the ethnic violence between Fulanis and Donso or Fulanis or Dogon. And if you remember, for instance, 3 years ago or 4, almost the same issue happened in Aguelhok, which is like a village located in the extreme north of Mali. More than 150 Malian soldiers have been killed, and the investigation is still pending with the International Criminal Court. And right now, I think if I have to give you my personal opinion regarding these issues, I think the government plus those international actors, because it's not only Mali, it's also Burkina Faso.
Yes, that's what we're
a shift, and also Niger.
Thank you.
And wherever we have Fulanis, they have to be more involved, the government, to do a better investigation and hold those people responsible to those victims.
We hope to get some better answers in the coming days, Modibo. Thank you very much for joining us today. That's Modibo Dambele, VOA Bambara journalist. Now, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, amid fears of electoral fraud, citizens nervously await the results from Sunday's chaotic presidential election. Internet and SMS services remained down for a third straight day on Wednesday after the government imposed a total block on those connections. A senior advisor to President Joseph Kabila says internet and SMS services were cut to preserve public order after fictitious results began circulating on social media and will remain down until the publication of complete election results on January the 6th. Both the opposition and ruling coalition say they are on track to win after Sunday's turbulent election day, in which many Congolese were unable to vote due to an Ebola outbreak, conflict, and logistical problems. Congolese citizens have never witnessed a democratic transfer of power, and any disputed outcome could lead to a repeat of the violence that followed the 2006 and 2011 elections and a wider security breakdown in its volatile eastern provinces. Well, for the latest on the DRC elections, viewers, Abdurrahman Dia joins me by phone from Kinshasa. Good evening, Abdurrahman.
Good evening, Vincent.
Yes, now, first, there have been some reports from observer groups there. Can you give us the latest? What are they saying?
Exactly. Both SADC, the Southern African Community, and the African Union gave their first assessment on the process, the electoral process, and both organizations congratulated the government for at least self-funding this election. And they also were very happy that the election, during election day, it was generally peacefully despite some incidents in other parts of the country. The SADC organization actually did say that the election, in its view, was well managed and was relatively smooth given the challenges that the country has been facing. However, the African Union, I think, was more critical. They noted several issues like the one regarding the voting machines, some voter lists missing. And this, I think, also very interesting. The African Union basically wishing that the results would be reflecting the will of the people, which is a language that is very similar to the one that the opposition has been using. That doesn't mean that the African Union is supporting the opposition, but the similarity in language is very interesting, I think.
And many times African observers always have the same verdict. But here's a question. Both sides claim they're winning, they're headed for a victory. What are they basing this on? And if any of the sides loses, what can we expect?
I think that is the fear here, because everyone is trying to play, into public opinion view, saying that they think they are ahead, given the compilation of the results that they are getting from other parts of the country. So everyone is trying to show confidence here. The latest is the FCC, the Congolese Front for Change, that is supporting Emmanuel Ramazani Shadary, also coming out again with another communique today saying that they are still confident, and we already had Martin Fayulu and Felix Tshisekedi saying the same. So people fear that whoever will be declared the winner, the other parties might not accept it, that could lead to violence eventually.
Sadly, the bane of African elections. Thank you very much, Abdurrahman, for your excellent reporting, as always.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, Abdurrahman Dia reporting live from Kinshasa. Now, as we await the official final results of the DRC presidential election, we thought now would be a good time to focus on the ordinary people of that country. Today, we are continuing our series, We Are Congolese, about people sharing their hopes for their homeland. Let's meet Ntumba Cynthia.
Si on doit parler de la situation actuelle de notre pays, c'est l'allure tribale qui prenne les choses. Le tribalisme qui cherche à régner dans cette situation politique actuellement est une situation que je déplore formellement. D'abord, je dirais, pour moi, la cause principale, je dirais que nos aînés, nos pères, ils sont pour beaucoup. dans cette situation. Et pour y remédier aujourd'hui, c'est que la jeunesse actuelle qui prend conscience de cela doit arriver à se réunir. Peu importe les positions, peu importe les partis, peu importe nos idéaux, on doit arriver à se mettre ensemble pour pouvoir primer sur cette situation tribale, parce que qu'on se le dise, pour construire un Congo meilleur sans le tribalisme, il faut l'entente, il faut l'unité, peu importe les origines, les groupements ethniques qui existent en République démocratique du Congo. Je suis de ceux et celles qui pensent que la violence n'a pas sa place. Pour moi, je dirais, peu importe les situations, le dialogue prime. Il y a toujours des solutions qui peuvent faire qu'on puisse éviter la violence. Donc, je ne vois pas qu'est-ce qui peut définitivement m'emmener à la violence, tandis qu'il y a une longue procédure, que cela dépendra des résultats des urnes. Aujourd'hui, la population congolaise, si elle votait les mêmes personnes qu'il y a quelques années, qu'il y a 5 ans, je ne vois pas comment ces gens changeraient le Congo en une année. Mais si la population se décide de mettre en place ces personnes capables, compétentes pour pouvoir apporter un plus, dans une année, je ne pense pas qu'on aura un apport à 100%, à 50%, à 20% ou à 30%, mais je me dirais même à 0,5%, le changement sera visible et palpable en République démocratique du Congo.
Well, in Somalia, Somalia has kicked out the country's top United Nations official, a decision likely to harm relations with foreign powers backing government attempts to restore stability after decades of turmoil. In a statement on Tuesday, the government accused Nicholas Haysom, a special representative of the UN Secretary General, of interfering with internal affairs. Haysom raised questions in a December 30th letter about the involvement of UN-supported Somali security forces in the arrest of a former militant of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group who was blocked from running in a recent regional election. Haysom's letter to the Interior Security Minister expressed concern over the government's handling of the arrest of former Al-Shabaab leader Mukhtar Robow and subsequent unrest last month. Well, still, after decades of civil war and the absence of a functioning government in Somalia, many of the country's youth have been left without skills to earn a living, especially women, and face cultural barriers. Recently, with funding from the Norwegian government, the Haile Barrisa Technical Development Center has reopened in Mogadishu to teach young people new job skills. That is where Zoldo Hussein is training to become an electrician and hoping to pave the way for other women in the male-dominated field. Mohammed Sheikh Noor has more from Mogadishu.
18-year-old Zoldo Hussein works on a solar energy control panel at the Haile Barrisa Technical School in Mogadishu. Her dream is to work as an electrician for a big power firm that will light up Somalia. That vision is far removed from the dark days of her past, when conflict in Mogadishu forced her family to live on the violent streets of Somalia's capital. She says this training has changed her life and her view of what is possible.
I would still be at home doing domestic work or probably married if I hadn't joined this center. But now I'm learning important skills such as electrical installation, and this is my life.
The courses at the center train students with diverse interests and skills needed to enter today's job market. Hussein already uses her skills outside of school, helping neighbors with electrical problems and earning a little extra money. She's one of just a few women training to become an electrician, but school officials predict that will soon change.
Traditionally in this country, women are not used to being technicians. However, as the world now seems to be having a tendency of gender-balanced jobs, women in this country are beginning to be brave enough to come along the mainstream of hands-on jobs. In the beginning, they were very few. Now, we have 21 female electricians, and we expect hundreds in the near future.
Hussein hopes when she becomes an electrician, more women will be inspired to enter the profession and build a better life for themselves too. But she acknowledges she faces stigma in a society where women's roles are largely limited to domestic life.
People have never witnessed a female working in this sphere, so I often become the center of attention, especially when I am working with my male colleagues in fixing or installing electricity. I feel embraced because they come together to watch us. Some think of me positively, while a majority of them discourage me.
Men still dominate the workplace and hold power and influence over major decisions, a reality women face on the job. But Hussein says this does not discourage her from focusing on her work and her pursuit of a better life. Mohammed Shahnour for VOA News, Mogadishu.
To the south now, there is government of Zimbabwe, which is struggling to pay salaries amid a sinking economy, is drastically increasing fines for road violations such as speeding and reckless driving. The government says the fines will raise revenue and reduce fatalities on the roads. But some Zimbabweans see the fines as a shameless money grab. Columbus Mavunga reports from Harare.
Starting 1 January, traffic offenders in Zimbabwe will pay up to $700 for offenses such as speeding, drinking and driving, overloading their vehicle, or driving without a license. The previous maximum fine was just $30. President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government says the fines, in addition to raising government revenue, will make driving safer. Critics say the move is a desperate measure to squeeze money from an already overburdened citizenry. Motorists in Zimbabwe officially drive on the left of the road, but they joke that these days they drive on what is left of the road. This driver says money from the fines should be used for road repairs.
Roads in Zimbabwe are now useless. They want to fine us. We pay tax, but they are doing nothing. Now they're increasing fines to as much as $700. Where will that money go to? All roads are full of potholes.
Not every citizen is against the increased fines.
I think maybe the responsible authority have got views. Maybe they want to ensure that the roads are going to be okay. So they are going to do something to make sure that the roads are okay. So let's just give them time.
According to the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, major causes of road accidents are speeding and lack of discipline. The government agents welcomes the new traffic fines, but
it's not only the fines when you look at road safety. So there are a lot of other instruments we can actually use. But you're also able to bring in education. You also have got to bring in, like what you have said, roadworthy vehicles. And we are saying this is a good start.
The government says it is embarking on a program of fixing and expanding roads, which over the years have become death traps due to severe neglect. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Harare.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our show live on Facebook, so check us out and share our show with your friends. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince McCory. Still ahead on Africa 54, welcoming Togo into the VOA family of broadcasts. But first, a look at Wednesday's headlines.
الآن هذه الحكومة
أن نسحب أي تمثيل أي منظر.
As technology advances, there are new tools for the U.S. military to train and be better prepared for combat. To assist the U.S. Department of Defense, researchers at the University of Southern California Institute for Creative Technologies have been working on a project that creates 3D landscape models to be used in virtual and augmented reality to enhance military training exercises. Viewers Elizabeth Lee has the details.
Before facing combat, members of the military can use augmented and virtual reality to train and prepare for dangerous real-world situations. What makes this possible is a project called One World Terrain.
The goal is to create a 3D representation of the planet using as many different sources of data as possible.
With the help of a drone to collect images, a computer then processes the data and creates 3D models of an environment.
So the goal was to give a small military unit, someone like a squad or a platoon, the ability to carry this without much additional weight or additional power requirements. So we wanted to fit everything into a backpack. They could go out and map an area of interest and then see that area in 3D prior to conducting a training exercise.
Marine Corps infantry battalions are now using this 3D technology either in augmented reality or virtual reality to train in exercises such as route planning, cover and concealment, and deciding on the best locations to place weapons systems. There are reasons why a 3D model of an environment is better for training than just video.
The main difference is perspective, right? So when you produce a 3D model, you're giving a user perspective that they otherwise wouldn't get in a video, because in a video you're restricted to where that video was captured from. You can't move that video 20 degrees to the east or move it higher or move it lower or zoom in.
Researchers are also working to provide this technology to the Army. The hope is the better a person performs in a virtual environment, the better the chances of survival in the real world. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News, Los Angeles.
Well, Togolese audiences in the capital city, Lomé, are now listening to VOA Africa on FM radio frequency 102.3. Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell participated in the mid-December launching ceremony of VOA's newest African FM and its evening musical festivities, and has this report.
At the press of a button, the U.S. ambassador in Togo, David Gilmore, opened the reception of VOA Africa FM in Lomé and the Maritime region. 102.3 is the frequency with which Togolese listeners of VOA can now enjoy its broadcasts 24/7.
We're very pleased to welcome VOA to Togo, not only because because the VOA is a very important source of information, another source that will help diversify the media landscape here in Togo and give the Togolese public another important source of information, of credible information from an international source. But also I think it's an important element for the country's development. Togo has a dream and a strategy of becoming the regional hub for logistics and transport in West Africa, and it already plays an important role in that sense. And one of the elements of integrating the country into the global economy, of course, is to have people who speak English, because English is the language of international trade, and so it's really an essential especially for young people to speak English. So I think having VOA here in the country is really going to help young people in Togo, especially to improve their level of English, which will open up new horizons of economic development and prosperity for the country.
Young Togolese are therefore eager to improve their English through VOA programs.
It is a good initiative. The fact that the VOA is now in Togo with its own frequency. Currently, there are many students who are learning English language, so it is already an asset. We look to the VOA to provide good programs in English to help us learn.
The ceremony brought memories of the past to Frank Misite, director of the Ministry of Communication.
For us, who were born in the early 1960s, The Voice of America is a radio that rocked our childhood on shortwave. We learned a lot through the Voice of America. We had our first contacts with the outside world through the Voice of America.
The VOA FM launch was celebrated that evening by a live concert for the general public held at Canal Olympia Godope. Distinguished Togolese comedians, actors, and musicians performed, alongside myself and Ambassador Gilmore.
Merci. Bonsoir.
The Voice of America is broadcasting on frequency 102.3 in Lomé 24/7 with programs in both French and English. Heather Maxwell, VOA Africa, Lomé.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Let's look at what's trending. 2018 saw the continent embrace a mix of homegrown innovation and technology invented elsewhere, but adapted for local use. For example, South Africa launched an ATM-like vending machine to dispense medicines to patients with chronic illnesses such as HIV/AIDS, in a move aimed at reducing waiting times and congestion in public health care facilities. Malawi, in partnership with UNICEF, started using drones to create high-resolution maps of densely populated hotspots in order to implement interventions and stem the spread of cholera. Tech is helping South Africans using minibuses or taxis, as they are known locally. Now there is an app that aims to help commuters navigate through the maze. Well, and finally, fitness and wellness is going high-tech in California, with some gyms now incorporating artificial intelligence. Upgrade Labs calls itself the world's first large biohacking facility. It takes a scientific approach to your entire body inside and out and focuses on physical fitness, cognitive performance, cellular health, and recovery post-injury. You can come in for one treatment, or you can purchase a variety of monthly memberships for various levels of need. Services are said to help muscle, cardio, and bone strength, while cognitive training tools help train the brain. There are also cellular tools to help reduce inflammation, pain, and improve mitochondria function, while regular weight loss equipment and body strength treatments are also available. And that's what's trending today. Well, that's our show for today. Now be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings, Today Broke Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night.
Thank you.